Hey there, friends. How are you all doing? I hope each and every single one of you is faring well today. My name is Rabbit, and welcome to episode number 10 of Let's Play Through Final Fantasy Origins, specifically Final Fantasy on the PlayStation 1. In our last episode, I told you guys that I was going to do a little bit of grinding and a little bit of preparation in order for us to advance onward into the next section of the game to advance the actual plot. But first, I want to bring you guys back with me by showing you my personal training grounds before we do move forward into the next section. So I do want to go ahead and highlight on the map where I am located. I actually mentioned this to you guys a little bit before. If we scroll on over, this little red box that's right here in the center of the map with our little glowing yellow boat right beneath it, that is Pravoka. I had mentioned to you guys when we were at Pravoka that I liked to run a little bit eastward and do a bit of grinding underneath that mountain range. Well, at this point in the game, before we go to the next section following the events of Elfheim, I love to run all the way back here to Pravoka, head eastward, and then to the tippy top of that peninsula, because there are some badass monsters here that absolutely will rock your world. So I kind of mentioned to you guys and showed you some of the spells that I wanted to grab up front to even prepare me to tackle the monsters here at the peninsula. Primarily, I was focused on obtaining Fire 2 as well as Null Ice, and that was only because there were a set of wolves, or there are actually a lot of monsters that are quite tough, but there are these, I think they're called winter wolves or frost wolves or something like that, and they have an AoE ice ability that absolutely devastates your team. If you're coming over here at like level, let's just say 8 or even 9, it's going to be a wrap for you. So having Null Ice and then wiping out their waves, because usually there's 4 if not 5 of them at a time, with Fire 2 makes it considerably easier, and you're going to want to be set up to tackle this as easily as possible, because the frost wolves are actually not even the worst thing that you will encounter up here. There are these little T-Rex looking things that are just absolute monsters. Then there are also these big steroid-like creatures. There are trolls. There are I don't even know how to describe everything that's here. Necro something. They're like undead creatures, and they're also very beastly. We'll take a look. I'm actually going to get into about maybe 2 or 3 fights with you guys here in tow, just so you can see the strength of the opponents up here. And I also want to highlight how much money you can amass by coming up here and training up here. But okay. Let's look at the specifics of what's on the screen, and then I'll showcase some fights here, some samples for you so you know what to kind of expect. Then we will head back to Pravoka to rest up. And I do want to also highlight, being here and doing this here is also beneficial to you in terms of saving your money, because it only costs, I think, like 50 to sleep at the inn in Pravoka, and then it's only 80 to bring someone back to life at the church if they happen to die. So very affordable, very cost effective to do your training and grinding over here, and then it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to take your boat back to Elfheim to upgrade your spells along the way. So okay, as you can see, we have glowed up, my friends. Everyone is now level 13, and I actually think a few of them might be right on the cusp of level 14, which we can confirm by bringing up our status pages here. I just want you guys to see all of the numerical changes. For those of you that do really care about, all of those types of details. You will also notice that copper armlets are on everybody, and I also had upgraded back on Rohit his weapon. We'll circle back to it, and yeah, as we can see here, Melvin is very close to hitting level 14, and Tyrone is not too terribly far behind him. So Tyrone got a new weapon. He upgraded to the dagger. I do believe he had the knife previously, and Rohit has the mithril sword. So I have maxed out all of the equipment that you can purchase at Elfheim. Very expensive, as you guys do recall, but this is the place to absolutely obtain that money. And as you can see, I've got a lot more to my name right now, and I actually have all of the equipment and all of the spells that I really needed to gather from Elfheim. But speaking of spells, just so you guys can see what everyone has on them, we'll just kind of scroll right across, because level 3 and level 4 is really where the changes have happened without you. So I've got Fire 2 on Rohit, 30 to 120 fire damage. Cure 2 restores 33 to 66 HP. And then we also have Bind, which paralyzes a foe. I think this is a necessity for what awaits us, but it's kind of up to you if you'd rather put this on your white mage or put this on both of them. But Asuna cures poison, so you're going to want that as a level 4 spell. You also, or I shouldn't say you, I also have Muddle, which confuses foes into turning on each other. I don't know, this one's a little hackney. I've never had, I would say, an overwhelmingly positive response with using this. I don't know. I think it's okay, but lastly, certainly not least, we've got Ice 2, which inflicts 40 to 160 ice damage. So Rohit is not only packing a wallop in terms of his ability to clear waves with AoE spells, but he does a lot of damage, and you guys will see this shortly when we kind of sample out a couple of fights up here in this little peninsula area. All right, skipping over our monk, because obviously he has no spells, right on over to our white mage Melvin. We have got Heal 1, which restores 12 to 24 HP to everyone, so an AoE heal, always nice, although it doesn't do a whole lot. It's still good to have in some crutch situations. You've already seen Cure 2 because this is on Rohit. We've got Dia 2, which inflicts 40 to 160 damage to undead foes, dropping down to level 4. Null Ice, which I'll honestly probably drop since technically I really only needed it to withstand the AoE like frost ability that those wolves kind of dish out, and I was a little worried about what that was going to do to my team, but I don't think, you know, like Null Fire, which you can also buy in Elfheim, and I opted not to pick it up, I don't really mess with the Null spells too terribly much, and maybe that's my own error, and I'm kind of sleeping on some OP strats there, but I'll more than likely drop Null Ice and grab, let me skip on over, another Asuna. I'll see how I feel. We've got a little bit of time before I need to absolutely commit to a plan. But Null Ice is still here from when I was prepping to fight the enemies here. I've got Fear, which drives foes away in terror. Kind of like what I was saying about Muddle. I have had some mixed results with Fear. It's up to you if you want to just play around with different play styles and try different status effects. It's there. And then I got Vox, which cures Mute. So let's not belabor Tyrone. I mean, you guys have seen most of these abilities already. Fire 2, we saw that on Rohit. Bolt 2, which is just the upgraded version of Bolt 1, but it is an AoE, and it inflicts 30 to 120 lightning damage. We've got Focus 2, upgrade to Focus 1, lowers foes' evasion by 10 points. This one, I think, was for 1, and this one is for a multiple enemies, so it's another AoE. Ice 2, we've seen that. It's on Rohit. I have Haste, which doubles frequency of an ally's attacks, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, I think this is broken on our Monk. He does so much flippin' damage, because remember, he is unarmed, so if you have not removed your nunchucks or the crocier, if you bought those back in Elfheim for your Monk, now's the time to drop whatever weapons you've got on him, let him freestyle with his hands, because he is going to kick some ass. Lastly, we've got Sleep 2, which puts a foe to sleep. Mixed bag kind of spell for me. It works sometimes it doesn't, but I think it's good to go ahead and have. Okay, those are all of our spells, just to show you, I guess. These are the items that I have. I do need to go and sell some of my old equipment, but I guess I'll quickly let you see the changes to stats. So the broadsword, you can see the glow up that occurred here for Rohit by equipping this. His attack went from 23 to 31, and accuracy went from 41 to 46. The copper armlet was a change from his leather armor. You can see his evasion went from 55 to 62. So same situation here, 49 to 56 on evasion for for Burl, our Monk. And I think you guys saw everything. Oh, the dagger on Tyrone. So from 9 to 11 with attack. We're not really worried about physical DPS from our Black Mage, but you never know when you might need to do a little bit of stabbing of the enemies if they're getting out of line. So that is everything. I've got a few goodies. I grabbed some tents. We've got a decent amount of potions. We're okay on antidotes. I will definitely buy some more, which is why I've been amassing some extra gold. And I will be picking up, I think they were called cottages. They're worth 3,000 gil a piece back in Elfheim. So we're going to want to grab those. But okay, I did not mean for this opening to be 10 minutes, but I really want to kind of just explain my thought process to you guys. I know that I'm not always the most analytical person, and I am not always the best at tackling games of this magnitude that do possess so much depth to how you can play them, but for those of you that are at least interested in why I make the choices that I do make and you care about my perspective, you know, there you go. So I'm going to throw out a Fire 2 onto the Hill Gigas, I guess? Gigas? I don't know what they're supposed to be called. But anyway, these are some of the steroid-crazed monsters that do a ton of damage when you first get here at like level 8, maybe level 9. So do be forewarned, you're going to want to use your memo saves. I died a lot coming out here. Okay, I'm going to throw a Cure 2 on Rohit. They really love messing with him for some reason. And I will just go ahead and follow up with another Fire 2. We're in pretty good shape here. I'm not worried about anyone dying, and if someone does, I mean, I can make it back to Provoca with a party of 3. Honestly, I could probably make it back to Provoca with a party of 2. We'll take it in stride. It might be a good opportunity to show you guys how valuable the memo saves can also be. So we might have a couple on-screen deaths as we are kind of navigating these encounters. We'll see. But I want you to pay attention to Burl. He is an absolute brute. And, well, let me go ahead. If I don't skip down to the wrong menus here, I'll go ahead and heal up Tyrone just a little bit, and we'll throw another Fire 2 out. Let's just plop this on down. They should die soon. They don't have that much HP. Well, I guess you guys won't have an opportunity to see Burl in action here. Oh, never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself. But see, 2 hits dealing 71 damage. But look at this XP. And look at that gill. You just cannot go wrong coming up here. So I'm actually going to run around without you guys. I want to show different types of fights. And there's always a chance I'll get into another encounter with one of those Gigas. So I'll bring you right back once I've encountered a different enemy up here in the peninsula. Just for the sake of variety and showcasing the different enemies that you will face. So give me a second. All right, sample fight number 2, and these were the necro critters that I was talking about, and oh my gosh, these guys pack a wallop, and they suck, and they will 100% kill you if you are not prepared for them. So I cannot tell you how many times I died to them when I first came back up to this little training grounds area or peninsula area. I don't know. I'm not sure if there's really a strategy for tackling them at levels 8 or 9. I really was not able to withstand a lot of what they dished out until about levels 11, 12, and even now, they still scare the crap out of me. So I am going to hit them. Oh my gosh, I don't know why. I love to just hold the D-pad. I'm going to hit them with an Ice 2. Oh, and I actually think Necro means they are undead. So let's actually put to use this Dia 2. I can't think of a better time to whip this out. And then we'll try another Ice 2. And if this doesn't kill them, well, one of us is probably going to die in the process of fighting them. But we'll see. Ooh, Ice 2 is probably not the way to go. And if you think they do a lot of damage now, I'm telling you, everyone dies when you first get up here and run into them. That's why I was saying those like Frost Wolf, Winter Wolf creatures are honestly the best thing for you to find here. Oh gosh, I guess Ice was not the way to go. I think maybe Fire 2 might be a little bit better. Let's try it. And then I'm going to do a Dia 1. I'll get it together eventually. And I know this is kind of cutting it close for Tyrone, but I'm a risk. Yeah, well, there you go. I was going to say I'm a risk it for the biscuit, but I didn't even get a chance to get my full expression out. But this is fine because honestly it gives everyone else an opportunity to get a little bit of extra XP, and Tyrone is kind of way ahead of everyone else. Well, actually I think Melvin is the one that's in the best position here, but you guys get to see some levels come out with Melvin hitting now, what, level 14? And we'll see where Tyrone is at. Poor fella. Yeah, he's now pretty much on par with Burl and Rohit, which is, which is pretty good. So, give me a second. I actually feel bad about leaving him dead like this, but there's not really much I can do. I guess I'll just run back, sleep and heal, and then I'll come back just for the sake of showing you guys a third sample fight out here at this peninsula. So give me just a couple of seconds, friends. Alrighty friends, welcome back. So I will be transparent with you all and say it took forever and a day to get a different enemy to finally show his face here at the top of this peninsula area. I was hoping I'd be able to showcase those winter wolves for you because that's really what I was trying to prepare us for by gathering the null ice and the fire 2 combination, but they're just hiding from us, probably because they know they cannot withstand what we've got going down. Now, we'll be honest, we might actually lose this encounter because I was up here fighting for a while, probably 5-6 fights in order to even get a troll to appear, but it's okay. If we do die, I save every single time I go back to the inn, so it's not a huge loss. Actually, I've been using memo saves as well, so I might just show you guys how that'll look too if we have to use that. Anyway, the point of all this is just to show you guys some different enemies, and I think we have achieved that. So let's go ahead and get rid of this stupid troll, because he is going to be a big butthole for sure. I'll try to throw an invis down. That's really all that I've got. We'll do 2 ice 2s, but again, you know what? Let's throw haste. Burl is going to be packing a wallop if we've got him at a double frequency, and oh gosh, I hope they spread out their damage. And there goes Rohit, which, again, not the best, but I think the 3 of us can pull this off. If we don't, you'll get to see how a memo save works. But yeah, that was a bit of a wasted invis, Melvin. Not what I'm looking for, but if we can keep Burl alive, then I think we will definitely win this encounter. Or, you know, we'll lose Burl and it'll be a wrap. But this is what I mean, that even at level 14, which we're at now because of just the sheer number of fights that I had to undertake to even get a stupid troll to appear, but I think you will see very quickly, if you come here yourself, to go ahead and we'll just go in and let him kill us. It's not that big of a deal. I normally would not have allowed all of my mana charges to drop as low as they have, but I figured I've been memo saving. It's fine. I really just wanted to find another enemy for you. So for the sake of the example, you got to see a troll, you see that they can heal, and you see that, whoo, if you are not in the position to deal the AoE damage, then they are going to absolutely drag you across the floor. But I've got a memo save here. You can go ahead and see how it kind of works. Again, it is like a temp save file, and I think it's very useful to tap into. Oh my gosh, I did not mean to do that. But I think it's really useful to tap into because I've noticed whenever your memo save reloads or you pull the data from that memo save, it's almost like the encounter rate is reset. So if, let's say, I only had 2 of my party members still alive and they both were low HP and nobody had any spell charges left to their name, like basically if we were riding the struggle bus incredibly hard, by memo saving every couple of steps, let's say then you get into a fight, you die, you reload it, you're able to take a couple more steps, re-memo save, and just keep going until you exit the dungeon or get to the nearest town to you, etc., etc. I hope that makes sense. I'll go ahead and just showcase that for you here in a second. Sorry that our fight with the troll was not really what I was hoping for, but again, just for the sake of the example of showing you guys a different enemy, I'll try one more time. Let's see if we can get those wolves. They're really not that bad, not compared to those necro fellas and then the giga fellas. They just do so much. Here they are, the winter wolves. So I guess I just needed to die in order to get them to come. Now, unfortunately, I don't have fire 2, so that's kind of a bust, but they should die with relative ease. They're not going to pack too much of a wallop for us, especially with null ice, so I can kind of show you guys what the strategy was supposed to be, but sadly, I don't have fire 2 to follow up on any of this, but we'll go ahead and throw haste on Burl, so he'll do even more damage. But as you can see, when they're just doing their like one-hit wonder thing, it's not a whole lot. The ice storm hurts though, and again, it is an AoE, so I think null ice is absolutely integral to you successfully tackling these opponents. But we might die again just because I don't have the fire, but look at that on Burl. I'm just trying to show you guys there's a method to my ridiculous madness, and while we're still not in the best of shape, we could be doing worse. I guess we can try Muddle out just for the sake of seeing how this works too. There's a chance we'll come out of this on top. Maybe not. We'll try Sleep 2 as well. Oh, it only works on one person, so not really what we're looking for. We'll just throw out some fire. I mean, whatever. We'll let it be what it's gonna be. That's what our memos save is for. But those are the Frost Wolves. If you actually have all of your mana charges and you're able to use your Fire 2, doing Null Ice followed by Fire 2 absolutely just destroys those wolves. And you get, again, a whole bunch of gold / gil. I'll eventually call it what it's supposed to be called. And you get a whole bunch of XP. So with my failed attempts, because we're just, look at us. We've got no charges to our name. We barely have... Well, I think we're okay on HP, but it's just if we don't have the offense to follow up, then it doesn't really matter how defensive you are. But anyway, you can see we are level 14 now. We're again pretty close to hitting level 15 because I have gotten into so many encounters just trying to show you guys different enemies. So this worked out okay. You got to see 4 different sorts of critters up there, the Gigas things. You got to see the Necro things. Oh gosh, these guys... We're just going to wipe them with some Ice 2s, and it should be a done deal. I probably don't need to have everybody throwing out Ice 2s, but these enemies are really easy. It's the ones at that very tip top of the peninsula that are going to give you a run for your money. But again, they might give you a run for your money, but you're also going to be getting a lot of their money. So this is where I like to go as my, quote, training grounds, unquote. Level 14, probably a little unnecessary, and I did way more than I would even recommend you do. Again, I spent, I would guesstimate an hour and a half kind of messing around with all of this, and you certainly don't need to devote that much time to leveling up this far for what awaits us in the next episode and in terms of our upcoming dungeon. But, I'm not trying to spook you guys. Like I shared with you in our previous episode, this next area to actually progress the story, it is tough, and I think a lot of people do consider it the most challenging dungeon area in the game. So I would say, if you're at the normal, and look at that, 50 gil to sleep here, this is the place to sleep, and that is the place to go ahead and train. Now, if you guys have any other areas you would suggest maybe to kind of transition into this one, because again, if you run right over here at level, I'll just go ahead and save over that. If you run over there right at level 8, 9, even 10, I mean, you see, if I don't have the offense to back it up in terms of my mana charges with Fire 2, you die. And you die pretty quickly because they just still do so much damage. But the gil speaks for itself. The XP speaks for itself. Level 14 from like level 9, I think is where we were when we had left off in our previous episode. That's a lot for just an hour and a half of time spent. So we will go ahead and hop in our boat. I guess I technically could part ways with you guys here, but I do want to bring you with me back to Elfheim. I know this is a bit of a longer episode, but our intro was primarily spent just flipping through different screens and status menus, and I do want to actually show you guys a couple of the things that I intend to pick up. We'll throw out our Fire 2. Now we're a force to be reckoned with. If it wasn't so far away, I would run back up to that peninsula and just show you guys the Frost Wolves again and the strategy. But I think you get it just from even that quick encounter and that quick defeat, because I wasn't prepared with my charges being so depleted. I think you use Null Ice, you follow up with Fire 2, and they're dead. Like one turn, everyone's gone, and you can collect your 1,000+ gil and who even knows how much XP. But it's a lot. So you got to see a couple of things, which is really what I just wanted to throw out there for you. But I would love to hear your strategies when you come to this portion of the game. Like, what do you guys do to prepare for the dungeon that awaits us? Let me know, because I am all ears. If you think there's a better place to go for grinding from levels, let's say 9 to 11, and then maybe another place for 11 to 13, and then maybe that section that I showed you, that little peninsula spot that's northeast of Pravoka, maybe is more for like 14 and up. Because even at 14, again, they do a lot of damage. Oh my gosh, their HP is not the most. You can take them down quickly, but you better have your mana charges with you in order to do that. Okay, we are finally here at Pravoka. We've got more gold than we really know what to do with, but that is good because it will just set us up to better head into the next town once we're done with the dungeon that awaits us. But I actually wanted to head over here to the shop. I'm going to need a lot, and I do mean a lot, of potions. I'm going to grab like 15 more. Well, that brings me to 21. I better go ahead and cap us at 30. I think a lot of people joke that this area you're heading into next, it's good to have 99 potions. I think 99, that's a bit ridiculous, but I mean, you're gonna want to take a couple with you. I'm gonna go ahead and grab 5 more of these. Now, granted, we do have a Suna, but we only have 2 charges of it unless you add it to your white mage as well. I've got a decent amount of tents, not worried about that. The cottages, I'm going to grab, golly, they're so expensive. Let's grab 2. For 6,000 gil. We'll grab 2 of these as well. And I think we'll be sitting pretty here. I'm going to just grab, I think, 10 more of these. Just to be safe. Better safe than sorry. We'll grab 5 more of these. And I think we're okay on everything else. We should be. I'm crossing my fingers, because if we can't tackle what awaits us with the levels and the items that we've got now, then we are royally screwed, and there's nothing that we could do to better prepare ourselves. So I will sell all of my junky stuff without you. I've got a knife, broadsword, 2 shirts, and 2 leather pieces of armor that I'll just get rid of. And when we come back together in our upcoming episode number 11, we will be done with all of my little side preparation type stuff, and we will actually continue the narrative. So I guess technically I probably could have opened this episode by saying you can skip it if you don't care about the strategic elements to tackling the game. But, you know, if you're kind of like me and you like looking at these sorts of things, then I hope that you were able to learn something from this episode. But either way, take care, be good friends, and I, your host Rabbit, look forward to seeing you in just a second in episode number 11 of Let's Play Through Final Fantasy Origins, specifically Final Fantasy 1 on the PlayStation 1. I'll see you guys there.